The Empire had conquered 47 star systems without losing a single warship. Their military power was known across the galaxy. No one challenged them. No one could challenge them. The aliens were tall, with dark skin that reflected light like polished metal. They had weapons that could destroy entire planets. They had shields that nothing could penetrate. They had ruled the stars for 500 years without defeat. Supreme Commander stood in the observation deck of the flagship called the Dominion's Fang. This ship was the largest warship ever built. It had weapons that could level cities in seconds. The commander looked down at the planet below. The planet was called Earth. It rotated slowly, blue and green and white with clouds. The surface was peaceful. The planet had no signs of advanced cities or defense systems. To Earth looked like an easy target. He smiled. It was not a kind smile. Had sent orders to his fleet to observe Earth for 3 months before making contact. His scientists told him that Earth had life. The intelligent life forms called themselves human. They were weak. They lived short lives. They had slow ships. They had weak weapons. They killed each other in small wars instead of working together. Had read all the reports. He knew everything about humanity, or at least he thought he did. The commander stood tall, his hand resting on the weapons control panel. His officers moved around him, working at their stations. The ship moved silently through the darkness of space. All around them were other warships. Destroyers, cruisers, transport ships. All of them waited for command. All of them were ready to destroy everything on Earth. Captain Miles Harrison was on the lunar station when the alarm sounded. The alarm was not loud. It was a simple beeping sound, but Miles knew what that sound meant. Something was wrong. He ran to the observation window and looked up at the stars. Then he saw it. A massive black shape appeared in the sky. No, not one shape, many shapes, dozens of them. They were warships, alien warships. Miles was a military officer with 20 years of experience. He had trained for alien contact, but he never expected to see it happen. The warships were moving slowly toward Earth. Their size was incredible. Each one was larger than any human ship ever built. The biggest one was dark black with red markings on its surface. Miles knew that was the command ship, the flagship. He immediately sent an emergency message to the Pentagon. The message was simple: unknown alien vessels approaching Earth, multiple contacts. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. The message took 3 seconds to reach Earth. In those 3 seconds, Miles watched the alien fleet continue its approach. The biggest ship moved closer to Earth's orbit. The other ships arranged themselves in perfect formation around it. They were not attacking. Not yet. They were just waiting, watching, getting ready. General was in the Pentagon Situation Room when the message arrived. She read the words on the screen. Her face did not change. She had been expecting this for years, not this exact moment, but something like it. Years ago, she had been given access to information that most people would never know. There were secret military installations hidden under mountains and beneath the ocean. There were weapons that the public did not know about. There were technologies that had been developed in complete darkness, away from the eyes of the world. General picked up the phone and made 3 calls. The first call went to the President of the United States. The second call went to the leaders of Russia and China. The third call went to the commander of a secret military facility in Nevada. The conversations were brief. The orders were clear. It was time to activate the contingency plans. Sent his message to Earth at exactly noon Earth time. The transmission came through every device that could receive signals. Phones, radios, television sets, computer screens. Everywhere on Earth, people heard the same message in perfect English. I am Supreme Commander of the Empire. Your world is now under the authority of the Galactic Empire. You have 7 Earth days to gather all your resources and prepare for surrender. All governments must present themselves for slavery. All military forces must lay down their weapons. All technology must be delivered to our ships. If you comply, some of you will be allowed to live as workers in our empire. If you do not comply, every city on your world will be destroyed. Every human will be killed. You have 7 days. This is not a negotiation. This is an order. The message ended. The screen went black. For a few seconds, there was silence everywhere on Earth. Then the panic began. People screamed. Some ran to the streets. Others locked themselves in their homes. News channels showed the alien fleet. Military radios crackled with emergency orders. Governments called emergency meetings. Some countries discussed surrender. Some discussed resistance. Most did not know what to do. But in the secret facilities and bunkers beneath the Earth, different things were happening. Soldiers were putting on special uniforms. Engineers were checking weapons systems that had never been tested in real combat. Scientists were reading files that had been classified for decades. Protocols were being activated. Codes were being entered into computers. Old technology was being brought back to life. General stood in the secret Nevada facility and watched the screens. She could see the alien fleet on the monitors. She could see the Dominion's fang at the center of the formation. She could see all the escort ships arranged around it. She had studied alien technology for 15 years. She had developed plans for this exact scenario. Now the time had come to use those plans. She looked at her officers. They were ready. Nervous, but ready. These men and women had trained for this moment their entire lives. They had been told that someday an alien force might come to Earth. Today, that day had arrived. Today, the hidden weapons would be used. Today, humanity would show the galaxy that Earth was not an easy target. General turned to her communications officer. She gave a single command, one word: prepare. That word set everything in motion. Across the world, in bunkers and submarines and hidden facilities, soldiers and engineers began their work. The Empire had made a mistake. They had invaded Earth thinking humans were weak. They had no idea what was about to happen. Professor David Clark had not seen sunlight in 3 days. He worked in the Nevada facility, a place that did not appear on any official maps. The building was buried beneath rock and earth, protected by walls 3 meters thick. This facility had been built in secret 40 years ago. Scientists and engineers had worked here for decades, developing weapons and technologies that the outside world did not know existed. David stood in front of a massive machine. The machine was called a particle accelerator. It was long and complicated, with thousands of wires and tubes and circuits. The machine had been built to fire focused beams of particles at incredible speeds. These beams could penetrate almost anything. The beams moved so fast that they could cut through metal, concrete, and even advanced alien shields. The machine had never been used in actual combat. It had never been fired at a real target. It had only been tested with dummy targets in underground tunnels far below the facility. But David and his team had studied the design for 15 years. They understood how it worked. They understood what it could do. Now they had 7 days to get it ready for the most important test in human history. General's voice came through the communication system. She was in the Pentagon, thousands of kilometers away, but her voice was clear and strong. "Professor Clark, what is the status of weapon systems?" David took a deep breath. "All systems are functional. We can have the main accelerator online in 48 hours. The secondary systems can be online in 36 hours. We have enough power to fire all weapons simultaneously if necessary." "How many shots can you fire before the power systems need to recharge?" asked. "If we use the backup reactors, we can fire continuously for 8 hours without stopping. After that, we would need 4 hours to recharge. But that is only if we are using standard firing patterns. If we use the coordinated strike protocol, we can deliver maximum damage with fewer shots." Understood what he meant. The coordinated strike protocol meant firing all weapons at the same target from different locations at exactly the same moment. This kind of attack was difficult to defend against because the target would be hit from multiple directions simultaneously. The alien shields would not know which way to turn. The damage would multiply. "Proceed," said. "I want all weapons online and ready for coordinated fire in 40 hours. Can you do that?" "Yes, ma'am," David replied. "We will be ready." The communication ended. David turned back to his team. There were 15 scientists and 30 engineers working with him. All of them had security clearances that required them to never speak about this facility to anyone. All of them knew that the world depended on them doing this work correctly. Across the Pacific Ocean, in a submarine named the USS Hamilton, Lieutenant Torres sat at the weapons control station. The submarine was underwater, hidden from detection. It had been underwater continuously for 6 months, maintaining a secret position. The submarine carried weapons that could reach any point on Earth or in the space above Earth. Had trained on these weapon systems for 10 years. He knew them better than he knew his own body. The orders came through the secure military communication network. Read them carefully. Then he read them again. The orders were clear. All submarine-based weapons systems should go to full alert status. All firing sequences should be programmed. All coordinates should be calculated. The weapons should be ready to fire on command. His hands moved across the control panels. The submarine was old, built in the 1990s, but it was still deadly. It carried missiles that could reach into space. It carried weapons that had been hidden from the world's governments. Only the military knew about them. Only a handful of people had orders to use them. In orbit above Earth, the Space Command Center in Colorado was also activating weapon systems. Captain Sarah Griffin worked at the main command station. Around her, officers were checking systems and calculating trajectories. The center had 17 satellites in orbit around Earth. Each satellite carried weapons. Each satellite had been hidden in plain sight, disguised as communication satellites or weather satellites, but they all had weapons. Sarah knew the specifications of every satellite. She had studied them for years. Now she was receiving orders to activate them all. The orders told her to aim at the alien fleet. The orders told her to wait for the command to fire. The orders told her to coordinate the firing sequence with all other weapon systems across the world. In the oceans of Earth, more submarines were waking up. In mountains across Europe and Asia, hidden installations were opening blast doors. In secret bunkers beneath cities and deserts, soldiers were checking weapons. In laboratories hidden from public view, scientists were calculating firing solutions. All across the world, humanity was preparing for war. The governments of Earth had made a decision. They would not surrender to the Empire. They would not allow themselves to become slaves. Instead, they would fight. They would use every weapon available. They would use every advantage they had. General looked at the global map in the Situation Room. The map showed every weapon system, every military installation, every hidden facility. The map showed the position of the alien fleet. The alien ships were still moving slowly toward Earth. The commander seemed confident. He seemed to believe that Earth would surrender without a fight. Made a decision. She picked up the phone and called every military leader in every country. She told them the plan. The plan was bold. The plan was dangerous. The plan required perfect coordination. But the plan would work if everyone did their job correctly. The world had 5 days left. 5 days to get every weapon system online and ready. 5 days to prepare for the most dangerous moment in human history. 5 days until the Empire would learn that they had made a terrible mistake when they invaded Earth. Dr. Rachel worked in a laboratory calculating the exact firing sequences. The sequences had to be perfect. If even one weapon fired at the wrong moment, the entire plan could fail. The aliens would see the attack coming and could escape. So every calculation had to be exact. Every timing had to be precise. Every weapon had to fire at exactly the right moment. Rachel had not slept in 2 days. She did not need sleep. She needed to finish the calculations. The future of humanity depended on her work. She did not know if they would succeed, but she knew they had to try. The alternative was slavery or death. That was not acceptable, stood in the command center of the Dominion's Fang. Around him, his officers worked at their stations. The humans had not responded to his ultimatum. They had not offered to surrender. They had not sent messages asking for mercy. They had been silent. This silence annoyed. He expected fear. He expected begging. He expected surrender. But the humans had done nothing. Made a decision. He would show the humans the true power of the Empire. He would demonstrate what happened to civilizations that refused to obey. He ordered one of his destroyer ships to descend toward Earth's surface. The destroyer would attack a military installation on the west coast of North America. The attack would kill thousands of humans. The attack would destroy buildings and technology. The attack would send a clear message: surrender or watch your world burn. The destroyer ship left the formation and began descending toward Earth's atmosphere. The ship was massive, 3 kilometers long, with weapons that could destroy entire city blocks. The humans could not stop it. The humans had no defense against the power of the Empire. Watched the descent on his monitors. He felt confident. He felt powerful. He felt like a god looking down at insects. General watched the same descent on her monitors in the Pentagon Situation Room. She had expected this. The alien commander was arrogant. He thought his power was unlimited. He thought humanity would be helpless against his weapons, but did not understand what humanity was capable of. Did not understand that humans were willing to die for freedom. Did not understand that humanity had prepared for this moment. Spoke into the communication system. All weapon systems, this is command authority. You have authorization to fire. Repeat. Authorization granted. Fire all coordinated strikes. Now. In Nevada, Professor David Clark saw the order on his screen. He pressed a single button. The particle accelerator fired for the first time in real combat. A beam of energy shot into the sky at the speed of light. The beam was invisible. The beam could not be seen until it hit something. The beam traveled through Earth's atmosphere and reached the destroyer in less than a second. The destroyer's shields flashed with power. The shields were designed to stop energy weapons, but the particle beam was not a normal energy weapon. The beam was something different. The beam punched through the shields like a knife through cloth. The beam entered the ship's hull. The beam tore through metal and circuits and power systems. The destroyer exploded before the crew even understood they were under attack. Watched in horror as his destroyer vanished from his monitors. One moment it was there. The next moment it was gone, replaced by expanding clouds of debris. The destruction had taken 3 seconds. 3 seconds to destroy a warship that had taken 5 years to build. "What happened?" demanded. "What destroyed our ship?" His officers could not answer. Their sensors showed the attack coming from the surface of Earth, but the sensors could not identify the weapon type. The sensors could not tell them how the humans had done it. All they knew was that their destroyer was gone. Made a new decision. This new decision was born from anger and fear. He ordered the entire fleet to attack Earth. He told his captains to descend into orbit and begin destroying cities. He told them to kill all the humans. He told them to burn the planet. If Earth would not surrender, then Earth would be destroyed. The fleet moved as one unit. 40 warships began descending toward Earth. The flagship Dominion's Fang moved with them, wanted to watch as his fleet destroyed the human world. He wanted to see the cities burn. He wanted to see the humans suffer. His desire for revenge overrode his logic. But the humans had predicted this reaction. General and her team had run 1,000 simulations. They knew the alien commander would order a full-scale attack if his first strike failed. They were ready. Every weapon system was waiting for this moment. Every soldier was at his station. Every system was ready to fire. As the ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, the attack began. The particle accelerators fired. The submarines fired missiles from beneath the oceans. The satellites fired from above the atmosphere. The hidden installations fired from bunkers and mountains. All the weapons fired at the same moment. The attack came from 40 different locations. The attack hit the fleet from all directions at once. The alien shields were designed to face attacks from space. The shields were not designed to face attacks from the ground and from the sky simultaneously. The shields could not turn fast enough. The shields could not point in all directions at once. The particle beams tore through the shields. The missiles penetrated the armor. The kinetic strikes crashed through the hulls. Within 5 minutes, the fleet was in chaos. 8 warships had been destroyed. 12 more were damaged and losing power. The remaining ships tried to escape, but the human weapons kept firing. The coordination was perfect. The timing was exact. The humans had planned this attack for 15 years, and now all that planning was paying off. Captain Torres in the submarine watched the alien ships explode on his monitors. Around him, his crew cheered. They had done it. They had actually done it. The impossible had happened. Humans had defeated an alien empire. But the battle was not over. The commander was still trying to escape. The flagship Dominion's Fang attempted to use its faster-than-light drive to jump away from the battle. The jump required the ship's power systems to reach a specific frequency, but the human weapons had calculated for this. The final electromagnetic pulse was timed perfectly. The pulse hit the Dominion's Fang at the exact moment when its shields were offline. The flagship's power systems overloaded. The ship lost power. The ship could not maintain its structural integrity. The ship broke apart, died on his command deck, never understanding what had happened. The supreme commander of the Empire died without even seeing his enemy. The surviving ships tried to scatter. Without their flagship, without their commander, the fleet had no unified strategy. The alien captains panicked. Some tried to fight. Some tried to run. Some tried to hide by diving deeper into Earth's atmosphere, but nothing they did mattered. The human weapons followed them everywhere. Captain Gregory commanded the Weapons Coordination Center in Colorado. He watched as the human forces systematically destroyed the fleet. It was like watching a master surgeon operate on a patient. Every strike was precise. Every weapon fired at exactly the right moment. Every decision was made based on calculations that had been worked out years in advance. "Status report," Gregory commanded. One of his officers answered immediately. "The central formation is breaking apart. 3 more destroyer-class vessels destroyed. 2 cruiser-class vessels heavily damaged and losing power. Estimated additional 5 minutes to clear hostile contacts from near-Earth orbit." Gregory nodded. 5 minutes. The entire Empire's invasion force would be destroyed in less than 1 hour. The alien fleet that had conquered 47 star systems was being erased by a species they had believed was primitive and helpless. In orbit above Earth, Lieutenant Commander White watched as another ship exploded. He was piloting a military spacecraft that carried direct fire weapons. His job was to track the enemy ships and fire on them when they tried to escape. Had trained for this his entire military career. He never believed he would actually see alien combat. One of the cruisers tried to make a desperate run for open space. The ship fired its engines at maximum power. The ship tried to escape the killing field. But Lieutenant Commander White was faster. He maneuvered his spacecraft into position. He fired his weapons directly at the alien ship's power core. The cruiser's engines shut down. The ship went dark. The ship became a dead piece of metal floating in space. Below in the Pentagon Situation Room, General watched the battle progress. She had studied military strategy her entire life. She had read about wars from centuries past. She had learned from human military history how superior coordination could defeat superior firepower. The ancient human general named Sun had written about such things. Know your enemy and know yourself. The humans knew their own capabilities. The humans had prepared for this battle perfectly. Another vessel exploded, and another, and another. The alien ships fell from the sky like meteors. Some crashed into the Pacific Ocean. Some broke apart in the upper atmosphere, their debris scattered across thousands of kilometers. Some simply vanished, destroyed so completely that nothing remained. The human soldiers and officers did not celebrate yet. They continued their work. They continued to track enemy contacts. They continued to calculate firing solutions. They continued to coordinate their strikes. The battle was not over until the last enemy ship was destroyed or had successfully escaped. Across the world, the public watched the events unfold. News channels showed footage of the alien ships being destroyed. People who had been hiding in bunkers emerged to watch the sky. Children pointed at the falling debris. The people of Earth realized that their world had just been saved. The invasion had failed. Humanity had won. In the Nevada facility, Professor David Clark and his team watched the destruction on their screens. They had done it. They had built a weapon system powerful enough to defeat an alien empire. Their years of work, their sacrifice, their dedication had been justified. The weapon that they had built in secret had become the salvation of humanity. David did not celebrate. He understood the cost. He understood that several human soldiers had died operating these systems. He understood that some people on the surface of Earth might have been injured by falling debris from the destroyed alien ships. He understood that war, even a victorious war, always had costs. By the time the sun set on Earth, 42 warships had been destroyed. Only 3 vessels had managed to escape the battle zone. Those 3 ships were damaged and running. They were accelerating toward the outer regions of the solar system, trying to use their faster-than-light drives to jump away. But before they could jump, the human weapons fired one more coordinated strike. 2 of the 3 remaining ships were destroyed. Only 1 ship escaped. The ship was heavily damaged. It had lost half its crew. Its weapons systems were destroyed. Its shields were offline. The ship jumped to faster-than-light speed and fled the solar system. It headed back toward the distant Empire worlds, carrying with it a message of death and failure. Captain Sarah Griffin watched the last alien ship disappear from her sensors. She felt exhausted. The battle had lasted less than 8 hours from first strike to final victory. In that time, the most powerful military force in the region had been completely annihilated. The communication system crackled with orders. General's voice came through clear and strong. All units cease fire, repeat, cease fire. All weapon systems stand down. Prepare for defensive posture. Well done, soldiers. The people of Earth owe you their lives. You have saved our world. Around the military installations across Earth, soldiers began to stand down from their battle stations. But they remained alert. The one surviving ship might return with reinforcements. The Empire might send another fleet. Humanity had won this battle, but the war might not be over. Military leaders began analyzing the battle data. Scientists began studying the destroyed alien ships. Engineers began calculating how to defend against future attacks. The people of Earth realized that their world had changed forever. They were no longer isolated on a small planet in an uncaring universe. They were now part of the larger galactic community, and they had announced themselves with fire and steel and blood. The survivors would carry that message to the stars. They would tell the Empire that Earth was not an easy target. They would tell the galaxy that humanity had defeated the most powerful military force they had encountered. The message was simple: do not underestimate the humans. The sky above Earth was different now. The constant fear was gone. The alien fleet was destroyed. The people of Earth could breathe again, but the world had changed in ways that could never be reversed. 2 weeks after the battle, the governments of Earth decided to tell the truth to the entire world. General stood before the United Nations Assembly. Behind her were screens showing footage of the battle. Screens showed the alien fleet being destroyed. Screens showed the weapons that had been hidden from the public. Screens showed the military facilities that had been kept secret for decades. Spoke with a clear voice. The invasion that occurred 2 weeks ago has been completely repelled. All hostile alien forces have been destroyed or have fled the solar system. The threat to Earth has been ended. The nations of Earth have worked together to defeat this invasion. We did not do this alone. We did this as one species. We did this as one people. The assembly listened in silence. Some countries had known about the secret weapons for years. Some governments had been kept in the dark about the true extent of the human military capability, but all of them understood the same thing. The world was different now. The nations of Earth had revealed their true strength to the universe. Continued. The technology that was used to defeat the alien fleet was developed over many decades. Scientists and engineers worked in secret. Soldiers trained in hidden facilities. Military leaders prepared strategies for contact with alien life. All of this was done to protect our world. All of this was done to ensure that humanity would survive if we were ever attacked. She paused and looked around the assembly. Now that the threat is ended, we must decide what comes next. Do we hide this technology again? Do we pretend that nothing has changed? Or do we step forward into a new era as a united human civilization? The vote was unanimous. The nations of Earth would step forward together. The hidden military facilities would remain, but they would be known to the world. The weapons would be maintained, but they would be understood as weapons of defense, not conquest. The technologies would be studied and advanced by scientists from all nations working together. In the Nevada facility, Professor David Clark met with international scientific teams. Scientists from China, Russia, Europe, India, and Japan came to study the particle accelerator technology. They came to learn how humans had created a weapon powerful enough to defeat an advanced alien empire. One Russian scientist named Doctor studied the accelerator carefully. "How did you discover the weakness in the shields?" she asked. David smiled. "We analyzed every transmission the aliens sent. We studied the radiation signatures from their ships. We built computer models of how their shield technology worked. Then we designed a weapon to exploit the weaknesses in those shields. It took 15 years, but we understood the problem well enough to create a solution." Doctor nodded. This was how human science worked. Observation, analysis, experiment, understanding, creation. Humans took time to understand their enemies before they fought them. This approach had saved Earth. Around the world, governments were making new decisions. The United States announced that it would work with Russia and China to create a unified Earth Defense Command. The European Union began developing advanced spacecraft. India announced that it would build new military satellites. Japan said it would create advanced research facilities to develop new technologies. For the first time in human history, the nations of Earth were working together toward a common goal. They were not competing with each other. They were not trying to gain advantages over each other. They were united in the effort to protect their world and to prepare for the future. Captain Miles Harrison stood in the lunar station and looked out at space. He could see the debris fields of the destroyed fleet. The debris was still orbiting Earth, a reminder of the battle. Some people wanted to clean up the debris. Others wanted to leave it as a monument. The debris told the story of human victory. Miller's communication system crackled. A message came through from the Earth's surface. New civilian spacecraft were being launched. The first civilian mission into deep space was beginning. Humanity was not going to stay on Earth anymore. The victory over the alien empire had given humans confidence. Humans wanted to explore the stars. The first civilian spacecraft was named the Pioneer. It was designed to travel to the outer planets and beyond. On board were scientists, engineers, and explorers. These people would search for alien life. These people would establish human presence in the solar system. These people would be the first generation of human explorers in the new era. Dr. Rachel was part of the team preparing for future space exploration. She sat in a conference room with other scientists, discussing plans for advanced spacecraft. The conversation was exciting. The conversation was full of hope. For so long, space exploration had been limited to governments. Now, with the secret technologies revealed, space exploration could become a human endeavor for everyone. "We can build spacecraft that can travel at 10% the speed of light," one engineer said. "Within 50 years, we could reach the nearest star system. And we can do it with crews," another scientist added. "We can send humans to explore the stars." Rachel felt the excitement in the room. This was the beginning of something new. This was humanity stepping out into the larger universe. This was humans claiming their place among the stars. Across the world, children watched the news coverage of the space launches. The children understood what had happened. Their world had been invaded by aliens. Their world had been saved by hidden military technology. Their world was now preparing to explore the stars. One child asked her mother, "Will we meet more aliens?" The mother paused before answering. "Probably, but the aliens will know that humans are not easy to defeat. The aliens will know that Earth is protected. The aliens will know that humanity is a force to be reckoned with." General sat in her office and thought about the future. The Empire would send ambassadors eventually. Other alien civilizations would make contact. Some would come in peace. Some might come in conflict. But humanity was ready. Humanity had proven itself in combat. Humanity would face the future with courage. Looked at a report on her desk. The report showed that 17 other alien civilizations were receiving news of the defeat. The message was spreading across the galaxy. The message was simple and clear. Earth was not a primitive world full of easy targets. Earth was a world of warriors. Earth was a world that could defeat the most powerful enemies. Earth was a world that would survive and prosper. The battle was over, the war had been won. But humanity's story was just beginning. The stars were calling.